Welcome to Abdication X, episode number 37, and the upgraded studio. It's time for a newsworthy Tesla broadcast. A special thanks and hello to all you beautiful thinking people out there. Before we continue though, help further our cause by hitting the like button, subscribing for future content, become a member, smash that bell. Don't miss any further content. Huge disclaimer. Ours is an opinion channel, but it is based on facts. Answers will come to those who are subscribed members of this channel, but we do always accept all suggestions and critical analysis. So, topics to tackle here and now. The ventilators. Hydrogen-fueled vehicles, GM and Ford. Will Tesla make it to the other side? Cyber disappointment and some good news. So, let's unpack this all. Tesla's made good on their promise to supply ventilators, etc., to help fight the super bad cold illness. They bring expertise in the HVAC technology and are obviously going to have another offshoot to their business model, which could include full climate control systems for homes with greater efficiency than anything on the market today. Hydrogen fuel cell vehicles and why they're really not so viable as a competitor to the Tesla model. Based on the fact that hydrogen fuel cell vehicles are pretty well confined to California because it's the only place where they actually offer some hydrogen refueling stations, it just makes it so impractical to try to go wide scale with the volatility of the storage and processing of the fuel and the amount of tank size space that needs to be reserved to contain these high pressure tanks that will house this hydrogen. Just not very, very practical. Don't think it's going to be an alternative and a challenger to the Tesla model at all. Okay, GM and Ford. I have an outlook on GM and Ford as a legacy car manufacturer. These guys are huge, but the outlook is pretty grim. There are plans discussed by GM and Ford that include the electrification of their future offerings. This is projected to only hit around 350,000 EVs by 2025. That, in my opinion, is absolutely anything but a serious attempt at electrification, and therefore entering a space that is where we are all heading. So I was very disappointed, and I was hoping for a much better talk from the two giants. It just, to me, shows a major lack of commitment, and it's unfortunate. So the biggest downfall seems to be their balance sheets. Their balance sheets are filled with debt. That doesn't mean that they owe a lot of money. I mean, they do owe a lot of money, but it's not that debt that we're worried about. What we're worried about is the fact that their dealer model has them with dealers indebted to them for huge inventories. And then they have individual buyers who are also on their own specific financing within the Ford and the GM family. So their balance sheets are filled with a bunch of debt. And at this point in time, with all these people losing their work and going unemployed, there's going to be a lot of ground to make up. So I'm very, very skeptical about where they're going when this finally does come to a close. Unless, of course, the taxpayers give them billions and billions and billions of dollars to make it through this period once again. And I don't think in the way of a loan, it's going to be a lucrative deal because I don't think they'll be able to pay it back in the future. So, with that being said, they have definitely misrepresented their environment to the people who are their customers. They're not as big as they seem when you take a look at the adjustment based on their debt portfolios. They have a lot to collect, and let's just hope that they come out of this with a few more serious thoughts around changing their model to electrify their offerings in the future. So, bad business model, don't be an overstuffed bank, because being an overstuffed bank really puts you on precarious ground, and that's where we find our major legacy automakers. I think the only ones, in my opinion, that really have a chance at the future because of their offerings and the way they are moving is Volkswagen with its electrification. They're going to try to change all of their vehicles over to electrified or full electric if possible. I know that they're going to offer a number of plug-in hybrids as well. Still, they're moving in the right direction. I also like the prospects for Hyundai. Hyundai seems to have a handle on some aspects of where this is all going, but I think they need to step up their game and really increase their volumes, etc. Okay, moving on. Let's look at the many reasons to believe that Tesla will succeed and become extremely successful on the other side of this super bad cold illness. 1. Tesla purchased from Panasonic one of their battery producing lines in the Gigafactory. This points to some very exciting prospects. Imminent, it seems, is the integration of their own new battery technology. We already know their testing has shown that through the Maxell battery system with the dry electrode, etc., they have been able to prove that they're able to reach over 300 watt hours per kilogram. I think with the projections of the 500 watt hours per kilogram in the future, they're going to maintain their spot as absolute leaders in battery technology and the machine that makes the machine. Once they start producing their own batteries, I'm sure they're not going to end their partnership with Panasonic. As you see, each model that comes out, they're able to improve each of the battery technologies that are currently being used from their partners or in conjunction with their partners, so they continue to use that technology and develop it as it goes along. So there are different uses for these different technologies. And when you increase the density of a battery, you're giving it either much more power to fly along on, or perhaps you can use that and distribute it in a way that builds your range. So halving the size of your batteries and having the exact same range is a major benefit to Tesla. It means they can make 2 cars for every one they do now. Okay? Increasing the power and the ability for that vehicle to make it up a hill or accelerate from zero in a much quicker time is another aspect to look at when you're looking at their higher end models like the Roadster or the Model S Performance. But then when you come down to the Model Y and maybe even the Model X, you might want to extend those ranges considerably so that people are more confident, less range anxiety, less dependence on superchargers. That will save Tesla having to build huge supercharging networks everywhere. They can have less, and they can use primarily just their top-end superchargers. So people can select on their console that they only want to stop at the 250 kilowatt superchargers, and that will be what will show on their navigation maps. And since they have increased range, they'll be able to hit those marks without having to stop at the other ones in between. Now, don't get me wrong, Tesla will still produce other vehicles that are going to have smaller ranges, because when it comes to their robopods or robocabs or robotaxis, I'm sure they're going to have 2-passenger robotaxis. They may even have 1-passenger pods. They may have the Model 3s supplying the 4-passenger robocabs, and so on and so forth. So I think when Tesla is done with their whole range of models, they're going to have battery technology that really is applicable in many different areas. So no need to end your partnerships. But producing your own battery, Tesla, genius. It's going to be a major asset for the whole Tesla team or family. Okay? So, number 2, Gigafactory Shanghai, back up and running and ramping considerably. Production is on the fly. Model 3 is coming off the line and in some great numbers. Numbers that they expected. But this means that when they really start to ramp, there's a good chance that those numbers are going to hit their projections, even with the super bad cold illness that we're suffering right now. So their numbers came out quite good for quarter 1. And although, of course, our projections are for a lower yield in quarter 2, there is a chance that it could ramp. If Germany is to get their super bad cold illness under control, we know that the Gigafactory Germany is still underway. All the trees are cleared. They're bringing in levelers. They are leveling the land, getting ready for foundations. So prospects there, looking up greatly. Again, this is one of the reasons, number 3, why I believe that Tesla comes out amazingly on the other end of this and just skyrockets in the success bracket. So let's go to number 4. Tesla's moving forward with touchless deliveries, which I'm sure are going to continue after the super bad cold illness has passed. So test drives can be arranged touchless, without having any contact with an employee of any kind. So they can have cars in many locations and people can just walk up, okayed for their test drive, come to the vehicle, boom, up, boom, take a test drive. The vehicle gets parked and it can always drive itself back to where it's going, which is another great reason why their success is going to skyrocket. Tesla, in their next software release, I'm sure number 5 is going to be offering not only the navigate on autopilot on the highways from on-ramp to off-ramp, but through the city streets as well. This means your whole trip can be run navigate on autopilot. You can leave your house, click, and relax, which is on the verge of, would we say, full self-drive? I would say pretty well it's full self-drive without the permissions. So you'll still have to, of course, pay attention to the road, keep your hands on the wheel, give some input from time to time, but virtually your Tesla will now be driving itself. They're improving the summon feature constantly. Remember, it's always running in shadow mode, and it looks like they are using those 2 self-driving chips on the module to, one, run in shadow mode, the other, run current version software, and tabulating how you drive versus the old software versus the next version software. And they can collate which are the best decisions being made by either the driver, number 3 software versus number 4 software. So I think we're right there. We are there. I think it's just a matter of minor tweaks and adjustments that are going to make full self-drive a reality in the very near future. And I believe that the Tesla ones or Tesla twos, whichever you decide to call them, or whoever you talk to, one will say it's a Tesla one will say it's a Tesla 2, one will say it's a Tesla pod. I think what's coming out of China next that's going to be distributed worldwide is going to be the precursor to full self-drive release, along with Tesla Insurance, which is being tested out in California, that will eventually hit every country. Because if Tesla insures their own vehicles, they don't have to worry about liability from other insurance companies refusing to cover their vehicles, okay? And thereby making it impossible to get them passed. So, Model Y is out, looking sharp, and actually has been equipped with heated radar, which will really assist in the northern driving environments. So winter driving, with all the slush building up on your radar, causing autopilot, navigate on autopilot, not to allow you to execute, this may be solved. Even though Elon talks about absolutely going with full vision decision making, I believe that the radar is still going to play somewhat of a part. There has to be that fail-safe, that if something is detected on radar that may not have been picked up visually, that will be another added layer of security. So I think we are approaching the point of no return, folks, where no other EV or gas-powered vehicle will be able to sit next to a Tesla and actually measure itself by those standards. There will be two different classes of vehicles. There will be Teslas and others. Okay, so with the Model Y, we have this nice heated radar coming up. They actually are announcing that there will be trailer hitch assembly that will be manufactured for the Model Y. Now, right now, if you open that space, you see nothing in there, but I'm sure they must have left room for adding that additional cable hookups, etc., etc. So the Model Y is coming out bigger and badder than we all expected. It has some really beautiful little inceptions, like inside the frunk, you have this larger gasket that seals up that entire trunk. So who knows, maybe just to assure there's absolutely no moisture that gets through there or causes any kind of damage to your goods as they're in there. They got rid of those little hooks for shopping bags, because really, I mean, you'd have to have a much deeper frunk to have those bags hanging there and actually suspended in any kind of a way that would keep them stable. I think it's just a waste of technology to have those in there. Anyways, the space in the back, 68, I believe, cubic feet of storage space with the seats down. Just an incredible amount of storage. The room in the back is incredible. I mean, full guys my size can actually sit in the back. I mean, apparently we can't actually tilt our seats back all the way because our head will actually contact the crossbeam, but most people will be able to do that in comfort without a problem. So they've done quite a few great little changes with the Model Y. They've raised the seats off the battery base or the floor, so that way you have a much more comfortable seating position. You don't have your knees coming up into your chin like you might have at my height in a Model 3. So many good reasons why I believe they are going to crush it going forward. There's also another little thing. They've been equipped with a heat pump that Elon marvels at as just an amazing feat of engineering, something that most would have said was impossible. They already had a great HVAC system that was pretty well running at almost 100% efficiency. Now we're looking at a heat pump that seems to be giving them the equivalent of 300% efficiency. That means better battery management, better interior management, much more efficiency, less drag on the car itself when you have this heat pump just instantly using air exchange, etc., to bring heat, cooling. I believe another massive winning combination for Tesla that's going to keep them head and shoulders above all people who call themselves competition. Now, there is much more I would like to bring to you right now. So let me go over here. We have some somewhat disappointing news. We hear that our beloved Cybertruck may actually come with major changes. My first rumors, of course, from the Tesla engineer or the Cybertruck engineer that I was privy to have conversation with, that there were going to be some changes, that we're going to enhance the look of the Cybertruck and the functionality. And I was really looking forward to that exact truck with just enhancements that just make it even better. But now it looks like there may be some major changes coming up. Not quite sure why, and I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to be and see how they've managed to keep it the same but change it. But I'm very terrified that they may be taking away a lot of the things that made that Cybertruck absolutely attractive to many of us 500,000 plus advance orderers. So, if the rumors are true, and some of us may be pretty disappointed, but they are going to be, I'm sure, presented prior to the debut. Apparently the Cybertruck is getting at least a 1-year push. That's a big, major disappointment to all of us. So the release is obviously going to be coming later because whatever changes they have to adhere to are pushing them back considerably. Excuse me. So it looks like the tri-motor version is going to be the first one released. Based on these changes that they're doing, I guess they figure putting out the tri-motor first will give them that impetus to actually continue on and make the remaining models of the Cybertruck. So those of us that were thinking it was going the other way, it's changed again. And I'm sure Elon is going to have a conference and he'll let us know exactly why all these changes are coming about and how long we're going to have to wait in addition to what we thought. Now, here's the great news about our beloved Cybertruck. In the recent polling, in a number of recent pollings, Cybertruck is coming out number 3. Ford, GM, Tesla, then Ram. Tesla's popularity is taking over the Ram truck and it hasn't even been released yet. Can you imagine how it's going to skyrocket once it's released? The demand for the Cybertruck, I think, is going to outpace everything they've done thus far. At this point, they're talking about years to catch up with just the pre-orders. I think they're going to have to put in lines at the other factories to make sure that they can keep up with the pre-orders and subsequent orders that are going to come once the Cybertruck hits the road. Now, again, this is speculation because we haven't even seen what those changes are going to be and whether or not some people are going to drop off of their reservations. But the people that have been questioned, their preference has been flowing to the Cybertruck. And for obvious reasons. It has amazing attributes. It has amazing stats. It has the utility that you really want in a pickup truck. So Tesla Tough could become the new song of the century. I don't even know what to put to that. But let's go with Tesla Tough. So, once again, with the observations that we're making here, it looks like the new software release is going to be pretty well full self-drive. And that means Tesla's going to be able to realize a lot of that revenue they've been keeping aside and not putting on the balance sheets because they were slowly releasing features in the full self-drive that were quantifying exactly what they were offering from the beginning. So the closer they get to the absolute FSD full self-drive capability, the closer they get to releasing the full extent of that held up revenue and be able to put it on the books. So this is another good reason why Tesla is moving forward. They're not stopping. There's nothing that's going to really depress where they're going as long as we get over this super bad cold illness as quickly as possible. So huge developments on the Tesla front, even though we're in this downturn and crazy time. Tesla will be the first to level 5 autonomy. That's in my opinion. That's my prediction. So leave your respectful comments, please. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, become a member, crush that bell. Don't miss any further content. And once again, never give up and never give in, but keep an open mind because knowledge is power. Do your research. Regain and capture that knowledge and that power. So until next time, thank you once again for joining us here on this channel, and we hope to see you often and regularly. Until next time.